all.
That's a Segway.
Hey, Mom, check it out.
The desire to add some special touches to your favorite set of wheels never goes away. That's why we're here. Northwest Running Boards. We install running boards, bed liners, bug shields, sun visors, mud flaps, and all the other good stuff that didn't come standard. Just call Northwest Running Boards and step up to the best.
Straight Talk from Teens, Sunday at 6.
At the FBI crime lab, allegations of fraud, perjury, and fabricated evidence. An ABC News investigation. Evidence today that federal weight guidelines are wrong. Even slightly overweight can be dangerous to your health. And why the headrest in your car may not protect you from serious injury.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with very grave charges against the FBI. The FBI crime lab in Washington conducts scientific tests for federal prosecutors and police departments throughout the country. It is the nation's most prestigious criminal lab. Its findings carry enormous weight when introduced in court. And so accusations of lying and the twisting of testimony call the crime lab's integrity into serious question. We begin with our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross.
The allegations come from one of the FBI's own, Special Agent Fred Whitehurst, a PhD chemist who for 7 years was the crime lab's top expert on bomb residue analysis. In a series of internal memos sent by Whitehurst to his FBI bosses and obtained by ABC News, Whitehurst cites one example after another of what he calls perjury, fraud, even the fabrication of evidence in criminal cases involving the lab going back at least 5 years. Whitehurst says he was under heavy pressure to lie in some of the FBI's biggest cases, including the World Trade Center bombing case. In a test on the ingredients of the bomb, Whitehurst says one agent, quote, altered the output of one instrument to reflect information that would have been scientific fraud, unethical, wrong, and very damning to the defense.
They were going to take chemical tests and change the results, and then present those changed results, those phony results, in a federal courtroom. And it was only because Fred Whitehurst said, no way you're going to do it on my beat, that it wasn't done.
As defense lawyers in the second trial connected to the World Trade bombing, John Jacobs and Valerie Amsterdam pushed Whitehurst allegations into the public when they had him testify last month about his allegations that altered lab results were almost presented to the jury.
I think that they came to believe that the ends justified the means, that if they had a guilty defendant, that why not take the short steps just to get the ultimate result.
Whitehurst allegations about alleged misconduct at the crime lab could have significance for hundreds of other cases around the country. One that is especially sensitive for the FBI involves a 1991 Georgia bombing that was prosecuted by the now director of the FBI, Louis Freeh. Whitehurst alleges that two agents in that case, Thomas Thurman and Roger Martz, committed perjury by slanting evidence, testifying about tests done incorrectly, and gave scientific conclusions they could not support. Whitehurst's allegations about the crime lab have been in the hands of FBI top officials since the end of 1993. But in those 20 months, the FBI has yet to take any action. In fact, some of the agents named by Whitehurst have been promoted and gone on to testify in other trials. And one of them, Roger Martz, was called this summer in the O.J. Simpson case to testify about blood tests he had conducted at the FBI lab.
And so when you went to conduct your test, did you go into it with any bias as to what you would or would not find?
No, I did not.
Whitehurst's new allegations against Martz have now led the Simpson lawyers to ask that Whitehurst testify in the Simpson case.
What exactly does Whitehurst know?
Whitehurst knows everything. The investigation's been going on for months, and you'll be hearing a lot more about it. That's all I can say.
Whatever happens in the Simpson case, the real significance of Whitehurst's allegations involves the fundamental integrity of the FBI.
We have to get to the bottom of any misconduct by any official agent, and especially the FBI, considering how important the FBI is in our society.
Today, the FBI said it was still investigating the allegations of its own top agent. Brian Ross, ABC News, New York.
Brian Ross is going to take up this investigation again and the implications of it to the FBI. during this evening's Primetime Live. The Los Angeles District Attorney Gil Garcetti said this afternoon he is not concerned about Whitehurst's possible appearance for the O.J. Simpson defense next week. Our response, he said, continues to be, let us see what you produce in court. When we come back, new scientific evidence that thinner is better. On site with the NATO commanders in Italy as they direct the air campaign against the Bosnian Serbs. And the American billionaire who has an unusual idea about coming back.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Tagamet HB.
LensCrafters and the optometrists next door work very well together. I test for glaucoma and cataracts with every patient. And with LensCrafters' 1-hour service, we can almost immediately see the results of our work.
LensCrafters, helping people see better, 1 hour at a time.
You know, sometimes it seems like there's a fest for everything. But there's only one Ace Fest, where you can find great values on all the things you need for the changing seasons. Ace Fest. It's one fest you won't want to miss.
In serious news about our health today, those who maintain thinner is better have been given some strong scientific underpinning. A study released by the Harvard Medical School examines the medical dangers of being overweight even a little. Here's ABC's George Strait.
When it comes to health, researchers say there's no such thing as pleasingly plump. After studying more than 115,000 nurses over a 16-year period, doctors conclude weighing even a few pounds more than you should can be dangerous.
Women who were mildly to moderately overweight had a substantial increase in their risk of premature death.
Take an average woman over 35 who's 5 feet 5 inches tall. Current federal weight guidelines say she can safely weigh between 126 and 162 pounds. But the new research says anything over 119 pounds is too much. In fact, the data shows the more she weighs, the greater the risk. If she weighs more than 175 pounds, she's twice as likely to die prematurely as a woman who weighs less than 120. Heart disease is the major threat, but 1/3 of all deaths in the study were caused by cancer.
Women who are overweight have higher risk for endometrial, colon, and breast cancer mortality.
While the study was done on women, researchers say the results are equally applicable to men and underscore a growing epidemic, obesity, being 20% overweight. While the nation may seem to be preoccupied with exercise and diet, 60 million adults are obese.
In the last 10 to 15 years, the prevalence of obesity has increased from 1/4 of the adult population to 1/3 of the adult population.
Being overweight causes an estimated 300,000 deaths a year. That makes this problem second only to smoking as the major cause for dying prematurely. George Strait, ABC News, Washington.
We have news tonight about you and your car. Tomorrow, the privately funded Insurance Institute for Highway Safety releases its formal evaluation of car head restraints. Those headrests on the top of the front seats, for the most part. There are more than 4 million claims for neck injuries every year, and head restraints are supposed to help. As ABC's Lisa Stark reports, most all of them may not.
Volvo crash tests show how its head restraints help protect motorists from whiplash. All models of Volvo were rated as good by the Insurance Institute study, as were 2 other cars, the Honda Civic Del Sol, the Porsche 911. Only these 5 cars out of 164 tested received good ratings. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says the problem is that the overwhelming number of head restraints require passengers to adjust them.
The head restraint should be adjusted so the center of that head restraint is right behind the back of your head, not your neck, but the back of your head.
But the study found that most adjustable restraints are not designed so they can be positioned correctly. So in a rear-end crash, there is nothing to stop the head and neck from twisting backwards. When designed properly, head restraints that are in a fixed position, like the Volvos, offer more protection. Darlene Phillips suffered whiplash in an accident 2 months ago and is now in physical therapy.
It would be nice to have a better shaped seat overall, something where the headrest would come and sit closer to my neck.
Government safety officials say the trouble with the Insurance Institute study is that it is based on the position of the head restraints, not on actual crash tests. But even they admit head restraints can be improved. At best, they work to reduce only 17% of whiplash injuries. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
There have been arrests today in a large child pornography case. The FBI says that for 2 years, it has been investigating the use of a computer network to promote child pornography and arrange for sex with children. Agents searched more than 100 homes and arrested 12 people today. More arrests are expected. The investigation began, says the FBI, after the abduction of a 10-year-old Maryland boy 2 years ago, a boy who has never been found. There was another record high on Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrials gained more than 18 points to close at 47.65. The trading was heavy. On the NASDAQ market, stocks gained about 2.5 points. When we come back, inside the command center for the air raids on Bosnia.
Tylenol Extended Relief.
They named it Tylenol Extended Relief because it's extended relief.
I can't give it a better name than Tylenol Extended Relief because that's what it does.
Remember, it's Tylenol Extended Relief.
Perfect name, great product.
I'm fainting. Walter the dentist is coming over and I got gas. So I take my Lanta Gas Relief gel caps. My Lanta Gas has the best and only medicine for gas relief in an advanced gel cap. Now I'm my scintillating self again.
You have a 30-year mortgage. So shouldn't you have a 30-year faucet? Moen. Buy it for looks. Buy it for life.
Dear Thompsons, I depend on Thompson's Water Seal waterproofer, but when my crew ran out, they finished with another brand. Did I hear about it? But you could see the Thompsons working. The other side, nothing. Thompson's works for me. Ray Hayes.
Would that be paper or plastic? Sir? Sir? Paper? Plastic?
Well, at least you know how to get the groceries home. The always dependable Accord from Honda. Possibly the world's easiest decision.
If your home or structure has a plumbing system made of polybutylene plastic pipes and acetyl plastic fittings, you may be entitled to money to fix your plumbing. Polybutylene pipes and fittings are usually gray plastic, not metal, copper, brass, or CPVC. This plumbing system may leak and cause damage. To receive information about the settlement, call 1-800-568-9455. 1-800-568-9455.
Tonight, one of the most disturbing stories we've ever reported. Do you know what your babysitter does when you leave the house? Shocking undercover video shows scenes you won't believe.
I wanted to immediately go downstairs and kill her.
A prime time for every parent. Tonight.
There is another potential complication shaping up between the United States and Russia over the continuing NATO air raids in Bosnia. 5 members of the Russian parliament left today for the Bosnian Serb military headquarters in Pale, where they say they will offer themselves as human shields in order to protect the Serbs from NATO attack. NATO ran fewer missions over Bosnia today than recently because of the weather again, which meant a chance for some American pilots to stand down for a day. ABC's John McWethy reports today from the coordinating heart of the entire air mission.
All phases of the NATO air campaign are run from this new high-technology command center in Vicenza, Italy. NATO pilots have now flown more than 3,500 missions over Bosnia, dropping bombs on 900 of those flights. To pilots and to the public, it is war. But not to Air Force General Mike Ryan, the man who coordinates this massive air campaign.
It looks like a war, it smells like a war, we're dropping bombs, our aircraft are being shot at. Why is this not a war?
There's no declaration of war. It is a NATO-directed airstrike operation. This is a NATO UN operation to relieve the siege of Sarajevo.
Though there is mounting concern within NATO about the bombing campaign, Ryan says he is ready to continue it for weeks or months if ordered to do so. But with cruise missiles now being used against targets in western Bosnia for the first time, and NATO trying to bring the stealth F-117 fighter bombers into the mix, there are new charges that NATO is escalating the fight.
If you go into an alley with a thug, you don't play by the Marquis of Queensberry's rules. So I will take any capability I can get that will allow us to do the job we're given and maximize the safety of the force in doing so.
The question that no one seems able to answer is what will happen if the Bosnian Serbs just keep absorbing the blows? Many military officials doubt that NATO politicians will be able to keep support within their own governments to continue the bombing much longer. John McWethy, ABC News, Naples.
In the meantime, while NATO does continue its pressure on the Bosnian Serbs, the Bosnian government has launched a new offensive. Government troops, sometimes fighting alongside their Croatian allies, are advancing on several towns which have currently been held by the Serbs. In Moscow today, a rocket-propelled grenade was fired at the American embassy. It exploded in an empty office. No one was hurt. Moscow's chief of police has put his force on red alert, but there are no suspects at the moment. And Russian officials say there is no indication that the attack was connected to Russia's official anger at the continuing NATO air attacks in Bosnia. Also overseas today, the second anniversary of the signing of the peace agreement between Israel and the Palestine Liberation Organization. And in Jerusalem today, Israelis opposed to the peace process began a demonstration at the precise hour of the signing. Police used water cannon to break up the demonstration. Much of the Israeli anger centers on current negotiations to expand Palestinian self-rule in the West Bank. And few places present more of a challenge than the town of Hebron. ABC's Jim Bitterman is there.
A school's Palestinian flag across the street from an Israeli settlement is all that it takes to cause trouble in Hebron. Every day this week, Jewish settlers have tried to barge into the Palestinian girls' school to tear down the flag. One day it did come down, but adults helped the girls put it right back. So again this morning, settlers who seemed determined to provoke a fight scuffled at the school entrance. And today there was a fight. A full-scale confrontation between Palestinians and Israeli soldiers. Hebron has become the most stubborn problem the peace negotiators face, a problem for which no workable solution is in sight. Because the tomb of the patriarch Abraham is located here, the city is revered by both Muslims and Jews. The 400 settlers live among more than 100,000 Palestinians. Palestinian leaders say, though, that once Israel withdraws from the West Bank, the settlers can stay, but their weapons and the Israeli army must go.
Solution is to the Israeli army redeploy from the city completely like the other cities in the West Bank and to hand everything to the Palestinian National Authority.
The settlers respond that they will never leave and will go on the attack if the army turns over security to Palestinian patrols.
It doesn't worry me because I know that the first patrol that I'll see here, around here, they'll get shot.
After 2 years of talks, the peace negotiators have settled some complicated issues, but not this city's future, not yet. Jim Bitterman, ABC News, Hebron.
When we come back, a rare defeat for the Republican leadership on welfare reform.
Last week we thought we had a 24-hour bug.
But we may have had a mild case of salmonella poisoning.
They came from bacteria, which was spread around our kitchen to other foods.
Now we use Lysol antibacterial kitchen cleaner. As it cleans, it kills the bacteria and keeps them from spreading.
Which may help keep us from getting sick. Get Lysol antibacterial kitchen cleaner.
Unlike some toilet bowl cleaners, Lysol toilet bowl cleaner cleans and disinfects. Now, is disinfection that important?
You get it. It's your ball.
You decide. Lysol toilet bowl cleaner for a deep down clean.
Your eerie, unpredictable septic system. It has the power to take over your entire house. Don't let it happen. Introducing Ultra Ridex Liquid. You can't buy a more effective treatment. The only one that eats both grease and paper. With maintenance, it helps keep your system flowing to prevent blackouts. Control it with new Ultra Ridex.
When is a stamp not just a stamp?
When it brings a nation together.
You won't want to split up our new Civil War stamps. Now at your post office. When is a stamp not just a stamp?
When it's the big one!
Hold on to victory with this year's World War II stamps. Now at your post office.
It's a great time to be silver because you're over 50 and you haven't lost your edge. Now there's a Centrum made just for you. Centrum Silver for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
We've got that high-pressure area rolling in across the U.S.
I'm Mr. Crunch. I'm Mr. Munch, trying to reduce fat crunch and munch. 35% less fat than the original. Yet still crunchy, nutty, and sweet. Try it. Reduce fat crunch and munch.
It's all your passions in one bite.
On Capitol Hill today, a rare victory for Democrats and what are sometimes described as moderate Republicans as the Senate tries to rewrite the welfare system, which they may vote on tomorrow. The subject at hand today was illegitimate or out-of-wedlock births. Here's ABC's John Cochran.
Today's fight over welfare found conservatives in an uphill struggle. At issue, whether to deny additional cash to single mothers who have more children while on welfare.
We don't want to have cash incentives for additional children born out of wedlock.
But others argued, don't penalize children just for being born.
The people that suffer are the children, and I just don't think that's the way to proceed.
Presidential politics is always in the background of the welfare debate. Two presidential hopefuls, Bob Dole and Phil Gramm, lined up with the powerful Christian Coalition, which backs a hard line on illegitimacy.
I am not going to support a bill that does not deal with illegitimacy.
If we don't deal with out-of-wedlock births, then we're not really dealing with welfare reform.
Many conservatives argue that cracking down on cash payments will result in fewer illegitimate births. Some Catholic groups agree, but say it will also cause more abortions. Republican Pete Domenici is a Catholic.
I don't want to be for a welfare program that I have to vote for and have on my conscience that I was part of a program to do some good and at the same time said to teenagers, maybe you ought to get an abortion.
Domenici won. The Senate voted by a 2-to-1 margin not to deny cash to single mothers who continue to have children. John Cochran, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Still in Washington, tobacco and political action. At a time when the tobacco industry is facing a serious anti-smoking offensive from the government, the cigarette manufacturers appear to have made a very clear choice as to which political party is most to their liking. Here's ABC's Barry Serafin.
Major tobacco companies set a record in the first 6 months of this year by making more than $1.5 million in contributions to the Republican Party, 5 times the amount the industry gave to the GOP in the same period last year.
It is astounding. It is aggressive. It is tough. It is using big money to buy big influence to protect the tobacco industry.
The money went to 4 national GOP committees, which meant it was not subject to limits on contributions. For years, the tobacco industry has given more money to Republican organizations than to Democrats. But the gap is widening from 2.5 times as much in 1993 to 10 times as much this year. Philip Morris led the way, contributing almost $730,000. The money rolled in as the Food and Drug Administration was moving toward declaring nicotine an addictive drug. The Clinton administration has now called for tough measures to end teenage smoking and to limit cigarette advertising.
The tobacco companies think that if they can't win their case on the merits, they'll just buy their victories in the Congress through all these campaign contributions.
Philip Morris declined to comment. A Brown and Williamson spokesman said the company supports the Republican Party's ideology and pro-business platform. Whatever its motives, the tobacco industry is spending more than ever before and putting its money and its hopes on Republicans. Barry Serafin, ABC News, Washington.
We were sad today to hear that an old friend and a very enlightened colleague had died last night at 87. 30 years ago, Mal Good was the first black correspondent hired by a television network, which he took very seriously. He worked here at ABC. He covered the civil rights movement, and he covered the world. He was a passionate and honest man whose grandparents had been slaves. He loved his work, And he was never shy to tell people who hassled him on the job that this was now a free country. He taught us a lot. Back in a moment.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
There's so much new going on at Red Lobster.
With 15 dinners under $10 and our new Ultimate Trio for $8.99. Lobster and shrimp pasta, mahi-mahi, and fried shrimp. Just $8.99 for a short time.
So hurry into Red Lobster.
You know, sometimes it seems like there's a fest for everything. But there's only one Ace Fest, where you can find great values on all the things you need for the changing seasons. Ace Fest. It's one fest you won't want to miss.
I exercise, it happens. I sneeze, it happens. Who wants to think about light bladder protection all the time? I don't. And now, I don't. Because Stay Free Serenity gives me extra dryness protection with new Extra Curve pads. Stay Free Serenity Extra Curve pads have Dry Layer Plus to keep them much drier than ordinary maxis. So I feel drier. Look, it's no big deal. Try new Curve pads Extra and Extra Plus, only from Stay Free Serenity. Drier than maxis.
In the mood for something wild? Have a Fiesta from Campbell's. The soup with a spicy mix of rousing rice, colorful carrots, and the pizzazz of sweet red peppers. You'll fall for the flavor.
I'm Steve Dunn. Tonight on Channel 2 News at 6:30, you'll learn about a woman who's on a mission to help minority children receive the gift of life. And why is a plane from circa 1912 being helicoptered onto a Portland building? We'll show you next.
And this evening, in our segment, Your Money, His Money. There is no debating that Kenneth Dart is an American billionaire who gave up his American citizenship because he found it lucrative to leave the country. ABC's John Martin on why and how he would like to come back.
Kenneth Dart made his fortune selling billions of polystyrene cups all over the world. Last year, while his company was making more than $400 million in sales, Dart renounced his citizenship and, leaving his family behind in Sarasota, Florida, became a citizen of the Central American country of Belize. As such, Dart was no longer obligated to pay U.S. taxes.
In exchange, you might say, he made a deal with the U.S. government. Dart could live in the U.S. no more than 30 days a year. But now he may think he has a way to have his tax-free cake and to eat it, too.
It turns out that the Belize government has asked to open consulates in New York and Sarasota. And who does it want to be its diplomatic representative? Kenneth Dart. If the U.S. approves, Dart, with diplomatic status, could rejoin his family, presumably living here, yet still paying no U.S. taxes on his personal income. That prospect disturbs the congressman who represents Dart's own district.
If you give it up or you renounce your citizenship, you should really give up something. You should sacrifice something.
Americans who surrender passports, move overseas, and legally avoid income taxes number less than 1,000 each year. But the Treasury Department says 24 of the richest avoid hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes.
You shouldn't be able to accumulate a fortune while you have the benefits of U.S. citizenship and then leave the country and not pay taxes while you and I are here paying our fair share.
Dart had no comment. In case he's wondering, the atmosphere is just a bit cool here in the capital of the country he left behind. The State Department says it views his prospective return as a diplomat with, to put it mildly, disfavor.